Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of eXhuming the X-Files here on the Outpost Unknown YouTube channel. The show with 15 listeners. We cover the X-Files the best. I mean, I'm just going to say it. We're working our way through all 11 seasons. We are currently on episode 14 of season 4. So if you like what you've been hearing, hit that like and subscribe. Join us every Friday night here on Outpost Unknown. My name is Matthew. I'm joined once again by my dear friend Jeremy.
We're almost there, guys. We're almost there.
Are we? I don't feel like we're anywhere near there. So yeah, we're going to talk about episode 14, season 4, Memento Mori, directed by Rob Bowman, written by Chris Carter, Vince Gilligan, John Chabon, and Frank Spotnitz. This was a tag team. And now, if you listen to our show a couple episodes back, we had the episode where Scully kind of, the sweaty, sucking cancer monster is trying to basically get some cancer out of Scully. She wakes up in the middle of the night, her nose bleeding. Then it cuts to last week's episode, where I guess we thought that she was having issues with the cancer, but it turns out no, she wasn't. They just flipped the episodes out of order. But now we're getting back to the cancer stuff. Did you remember this episode at all from when you were younger?
Yes, I remember the
I did
opening title screen piece very well.
Okay, so now we're going to get into Scully's cancer. So, how does this all shake out?
It starts with what sounds like Scully reading poetry about maybe passing on and dying as the camera kind of creeps up behind her in a medical gown. The whole scene kind of has that fuzziness with the camera and the light like during her abduction episodes, but it gets closer and closer to her and she gets more and more in focus, and as she gets into focus, her back is turned to the camera, she's staring at something. Well, again, she's being poetic in some sort of journal or something that she's writing, and she's staring at an x-ray of what is probably her head with a big tumor right in the middle of the nasal passage.
Yeah.
In front of her. And then it cuts to the title screen.
Yeah. I remember that opening prologue as well from when I was a kid, because it's so bright white. It's just the way it was sort of shot and how the camera kind of floats down and everything. It's just a very striking visual. But I remember, like, because back when you had like the cancer eating mutant monster guy, when he mentions you got something I need, it's like, okay, she's got cancer. It wasn't mentioned on the last episode, but now we're sort of getting back to it. It's like, oh shit, that's like right basically in the middle of her head. It's like, and it looks big. It's gigantic. It's not some like little thing. You're like, oh boy, how is she going to get out of this one?
Well, I mean, it sounds like she's letting go. So, and she's not happy. Like, she's not dreamily staring at this photograph. It's like she's coming to terms with her mortality at that point. So, Mulder shows up. Now she's dressed and she's still staring at this head x-ray. He has flowers that he says he stole from somebody down the hall, trying to make a joke. But the scene was more of the sensitive type Mulder.
Yes.
That we know and love, instead of him just being a dick.
Exactly.
But she says it's a nasal pharyngeal mass, a tumor. And then she called Mulder first before she called anybody else because it's untreatable. And Mulder just immediately won't accept that.
Yeah. This is a good scene from David Duchovny. I think he does a good job in this moment.
He does. But, yeah, why can't he act like this all the time when he cares about something that was weird? It's just we're changing gears a lot with him. So gets over to Skinner. Skinner's hearing about it. He gives a proper apology, which is an appropriate reaction you have between professionals.
Yeah.
And asks her if he wants, clearly you probably want to take a leave of absence. And she's like, no, I want to investigate, because this is a callback to the MUFON organization of women that all said that knew her from her own abduction,
Hmm.
and they were dying of cancer. So she knows that this is a remnant of that. She wants to continue that investigation in order to figure out where all these women get off to. And when she gets there, she finds basically that they're all dead,
Yeah.
except for the very last one, who's having her house sold by a realtor, and she's locked up in a hospital being treated for cancer. So she goes and visits the gal in the hospital. The gal's like, "Oh yeah, I remember you. The aliens let me stare at you while they were working on you." And Scully was just like, "I don't I don't want to hear any of that. I just want to figure out, or I want to be at peace with this. And I don't want to it was weird. It was a weird denial thing from her.
Yeah, because she mentions like I have no recollection of anything that you're saying, and then I don't remember if it was season 2 or season 3 where that episode came about, where we sort of found that MUFON group and all those women. Because I remember her walking into that house and there's all those women there, um, and I I remember back then she's like, I don't have any recollection of anything that you guys are saying happened to me, and then she still seemed to be in that kind of denial mode here at this moment when she's talking to this lady. He's like, all these women are dying of the exact same thing. Come on,
So
Scully, get it
so
together.
can't we just hang out as friends that are dying together without you talking about alien shit? Is what I came across like. Um let me see. They as Mulder or what is it? The MUFON gal, the last surviving gal, had a bunch of files in her basement. No, wait, they're at her house, and somebody just waits until they show up to start hacking into her computer.
Yeah.
And they know this by picking up the phone for no reason and realizing that that sound that modems used to make when
Oh
they
yeah.
hogged up your home internet line.
Oh
And
yeah.
so they go down to the basement. They find somebody's hacking into the computer. They say, "Let's get a trace on it," and they immediately get a trace on it. They find some guy's apartment. They don't even stake it out. Like Scully walks up to the front buzzer, starts beating on the buzzers. Mulder rolls around back, goes up the staircase, and then just the kid comes out, or whoever this kid is, grabs some files and ends up running out into the alley. Scully draws down on him, basically says freeze, and then Mulder just hip checks the
Oh yeah.
fuck out of this kid into a
Yeah.
wall. It
It's
was
like that
so
stunt
good.
guy probably got
Got his
injured.
bell rung. It
Yeah.
looked like it. But it's some kid named Kurt. And that Kurt is trying to track down the truth. He has some sort of he's immediately kind of taken underneath Mulder's wing as somebody that's trying to help. So they're going through like like they uncuff him and they're going through files while Scully goes to go visit the lady at the hospital. Eventually Mulder leaves the dude there all by himself to go, I believe, to the hospital for some reason.
Well,
And
Scully's like, you got to come here like right now, Mulder. And he's like, what's going on? And then I think that's at the point in the episode where she's like, the truth is in me and I have to deal with it the way I need to deal with it. She's like, I got to be in the hospital. And then Mulder's like, God, when he hangs up the phone and leaves the guy by himself.
instead of taking him with her. And
Yeah.
as soon as he leaves, somebody that was staking out their place like pulls out that little screwdriver thing, extendable, retractable ice pick that the alien bounty hunters have been using to kill hybrid alien humans. And sure enough, goes downstairs and turns Kyle into a pile of pistachio pudding.
So remind me about that weapon. Like, where is that weapon at this point in the series? Because that guy wasn't just like another alien bounty hunter, was he?
Yeah,
Like,
he
who
100% would.
he
Like,
was?
all those alien bounty hunters just have one of those weapons with them. How else are they going to bounty hunt?
Well, I thought there was only like one alien bounty hunter, and it was the one dude that we always see. I didn't know that there was a bunch of different alien bounty hunters that look like completely different people running around. I guess I was just confused as to who this person was and how the alien bounty hunter even knew that that guy was there.
Um, maybe
Leave a
you've
comment
heard.
down below, chat.
You ever heard of voodoo, Matthew?
Voodoo. 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 Yes. Okay. That makes total sense now.
But we needed to cram the alien conspiracy into this episode in
Mm.
order to give it that mystery effect. Because Scully just making peace with the fact that she's dying isn't quite enough, I guess, for Carter to sign on and say, I'm going to write this episode too. So they go, or he goes to the hospital, and Scully's like, I'm checking myself in. I'm going to immediately start treatment. But doesn't she like, she's like, I'm not going to let this shit beat me. Even if there's, I'm not
Well,
going to die from it, even if there's acceptable levels of survival with cancer. Even if I have to live with the cancer, I'm going to fight back. I'm not going to let this take my life away from me.
I thought
Which,
she kind of said that at the end of the episode when Mulder goes to see her, but she might have said it
oh,
at
you're
that.
right.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right, because there was a forehead kiss piece, and I'm looking at my
Yeah.
notes. Okay, it's not quite there, but she checks herself in. She calls her mom up. Her mom just starts chewing her
Oh
ass.
yeah.
How dare you not fucking tell me? I had to drive 2 hours. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, mom. And Scully just kind of accepts the ass chewing as is, because it was pretty insensitive stuff that she was
Oh
saying.
yeah. The actress playing the mom was just being a real bitch about it. It's like your kid is just come on, your kid's got, terminal cancer and you're acting like a total bitch to her about it because she didn't tell you soon enough.
Yeah.
She's like, I need to know everything from this point forward. No secrets, Dana. Like, oh my God.
But she has lost one daughter to stuff
That's true.
recently, so then they kind of go through this montage where she's getting tested, and Scully is again back to the journal. And I liked the narration of her in this episode. It got a little heavy-handed for a while there, but throughout the entire montage of her undergoing, like, figuring out how they're going to treat her, you realize that she's writing in a journal or a letter, something specifically to Mulder,
Yeah.
about how this isn't your fault, and this isn't something that you can fix no matter how hard you try. This is something that I have to do, and you can.
Yeah. And that's
So
I like how that frames and wraps the whole episode together. I thought that was nice because later on in the episode when we find out Mulder actually reads it, and then what her actual reaction is to him when he reads it, I was just like, yeah, because Mulder would need that from her because if he would blame he absolutely would blame himself getting her involved in all of this and his passions for chasing aliens and stuff has caused all this to her and basically killed her. Yeah. So it shows such a nice thing that she cares about him so much that she would write something like that to try to make him like not feel so terrible, even though he treats her like a dick this whole season. She's being nice to him.
because he deserves it,
Eh,
right? Eh.
eh. Not this season. He doesn't deserve it.
I agree wholeheartedly. I just needed to bring it up. Mulder ends up going to some records room for some reason, and ends up confronting somebody who's also going through the same records in the dark, and finds that there's another Kurt there. And Kurt is looking for a password to hack into something. And so he decides to continue helping him, and immediately guesses the password that Kurt has been looking for the computer, which I thought was amazing because I've seen his password schemes. They're pretty bad. Um, Scully starts she has this wild eye drilling flashback in the hospital, and she wakes up, and there's a doctor there saying, we're going to do this and this and this. And
Well, that doctor is the dude. When Scully sees that lady who's dying in the hospital, that lady tells her about that doctor, Scanlon, I think is what his name was,
Yeah.
and that, oh well, he was treating all of us, and he said if we could have just found someone a little bit sooner, that he would have been able to reverse the cancer, and that's what kind of gets Scully to be like, oh well, I gotta get checked in and treated by this guy. Maybe he can be the one that can help me.
Yeah. And she ends up hanging out with this lady at the hospital. Like they visit each other's beds. They're kind of coaxing each other through the treatment process. Um, Mulder decides that he's running into a dead end with like the Kurt part of the investigation. So he goes to back to Skinner and demands to set up a meeting with a cigarette smoking man. And Skinner just basically says the same thing he did the last time Mulder made this demand. It's like, I can't. That
No.
door is essentially shut. So he visits the lone gunman and they analyze her DNA and says something has changed versus the last time we looked at this, and something has been activated within her DNA, and that's what's causing the tumor. And so he's like, "Well, I know." Where does he come up with the research facility?
Oh,
Because he tells them they need to wear something funky and black to visit a research facility, and I have no idea what it had to do with anything
well, I
other than a
remember.
place they needed to go.
I remember, like, when he's in Skinner's office, he shows Skinner that little, not floppy disk, but the disk, and he's like, "This is what's the term he uses for it? Like a directory or something that had that place on it." And that's why he wanted to meet with the cigarette smoking man, because he thought the cigarette smoking man was the one that was doing this to Scully and knows like why this is happening to her and how to potentially save her. And that's what he was trying to get the meeting with the cigarette smoking man for. However, he got that on that disc from Kurt
Okay,
or whatever.
okay. So he did technically have a lead instead of just jumping to a conclusion. I
Yeah.
completely missed that. Um, as they're breaking into, like, the two of the gunmen break into the sewer and just hack the communications network so they could see all the cameras. They could remote control all of the doors that Mulder, and what's the name of the guy he was working with? It wasn't Frohike. I just the redhead
Buyers.
Byers.
Yep.
Eventually they get to a door where he tells Byers, "You need to just leave and go back." Because, yeah, he sees Dr. Scanlon written on a wall. Just
Yep.
DR and then the last name Scanlon. Not the full name, doesn't see a face or anything like that, and just jumps to the conclusion that the doctor that's treating Scully is part of this research program.
Yeah.
And he tells the guy that he's with that you need to abandon this from what I'm doing. You need to go down to the hospital and tell Scully to stop her treatments immediately because this guy's in on whatever this conspiracy shit is. And he does, only he gets trapped. He gets like stuck in one of those doorways that they only open from one side, and he sees cops or security forces of some type pulling up outside. And so he just kind of gets frozen. Meanwhile, Mulder walks into one of those big rooms that we've been seeing a couple of different times throughout the show that are full of the alien hybrid clones that are floating inside of that opaque, cloudy water.
Always looks cool when it's on screen. I love seeing that stuff.
And it's staffed by a room full of Kurds. And they're like, "I'm not a part. We're not a part of this conspiracy. We want what you want." And he's trying to figure out like what is it that you want, and they lead him to a room that's full of stolen ovum, uh, eggs, or what do you call it, unfertilized female human eggs,
Yeah.
that the Dana and all of these other women that had died of cancer, they were abducted, they were exposed to a sort of radiation that made them produce eggs like crazy. Those eggs were harvested and then let go. And I guess these Kurtz have some sort of like feelings for their mothers, quote unquote, and they
Yeah.
want to stop all this stuff so that they can save their birth mothers. Though I think at this point they're basically all dead except for two of them.
Yep.
I think Mulder actually steals one of Dana's eggs,
He does. He takes the vial and he pockets it.
and then Mulder needs to escape the building. He tries to avoid the mall cops. The same or the alien bounty hunter from this episode shows up and just starts shooting at him relentlessly. Like all of the previous ones have all kind of pussyfooted around with trying to kill him or Scully because they had targets that had nothing to do with them, but the guy doesn't even hesitate. Just starts dropping bullets into Mulder. Thankfully, there's a sheet of bulletproof glass, but it's not bulletproof enough that if the guy just keeps on emptying his magazine at him, he'll eventually break through.
How many
So there's a
bullets does that guy have? He pulls out clip after clip after clip after clip. I was like, man, that guy's got like a never ending supply of ammunition.
16 in the clip and one in the hole. Plus, I learned that from the Warren G song "Regulators."
It's a
You
good
have
song.
that plus and plus every other mag that he's got. So you got access to a lot of bullets.
Yeah.
Um, but he gets out. He doesn't get shot. He immediately runs, I guess, on foot all the way to Scully's hospital. Doesn't see Scully in a room, just starts freaking out on the nurse, like, where did she go? I don't know. But thankfully, his red-headed partner in crime with the beard from the lone gunman is like, yeah, she's just down the hall a little bit. So they go see her, and she's hanging out with the other cancer patient woman. And it's right as the cancer lady is kind of dying.
Yeah.
And while they don't they have a moment where the men leave, the girls kind of stare at each other, and they're very close at this point. And then apparently she passes in the room as Scully's coming out. She's just tears streaming down her face, doing acting, the quality acting that Gillian Anderson does.
She looks
Um,
bad too. Like her
yeah,
eyes, they look sunk in. I mean, it looks like she's just like she looks like she's in a bad spot. And
she
that's
is.
why I was laughing because in that scene when Mulder's standing there, like the human thing to do when she comes like shambling out of that hospital room would be like to at least move towards her. No, he just stands there and looks at her.
And tells her that is like, oh yeah, I was reading your personal
Yeah,
journal.
and then she's like, "I didn't want you to
Oh,
read that."
it says the wrong things
Yeah,
right away. So there's that. But uh then Scully through this is just that this is the part where she tells him it's like, I'm gonna fight this and I'm going to win in some manner. Some people live with cancer for a very long time. If that's what it takes to find the truth, and so on. And then Mulder has this lame line about how the truth will win this, and he kisses her forehead, and then they have one of those will they or won't they kiss
yeah.
each other moments.
That was
That was
probably that was probably one of the first times when I was a kid. I remember it's like, oh, okay, like they're really gonna like they're really setting up that sort of like sexual sort of love tension between the two right there because this goes on and on. I remember at least through the next couple seasons, even in the movie. There's a sequence in the movie when it's like, oh, will they or won't they? And I remember that being a huge thing in the '90s discussion on the internet and stuff. It's like, oh, will they or won't they? Yeah, it was very noticeable in this scene.
well, yeah. I mean, shows back then all had to have sexual tension in them between male and female characters, so we were going to see it here eventually. It's just in a weekly format, I could buy it. Binge watching this, I just don't. I don't
Yeah,
see it.
yeah. I feel like that's one of the great sort of like disappointments I had in this show is when they eventually like, okay, Mulder and Scully hook up and you know they become a couple. I always just loved the idea. It's like, can't you just be like best friends, like platonic. Like, why does it always, every show has to have like these people eventually like hook up? I have plenty of girls that I know that have been friends forever, and it's like, it's not like, hey, we're gonna then hook up with each other. I just wish that they wouldn't have gone the obvious route and just kept it as like, hey, yeah, this guy and this girl can just be amazing friends, and they don't need to have the sexual component to it. Leave it to Mulder and his weird porn fetishes, and Scully going hooking up with weird tattoo shop dudes.
Well, I mean, he's hot, she's hot. These things can happen.
Well, they can happen, but my point is they always happen. They always happen. And there's plenty of hot people that are great friends with one another that never hook up. And so I just wish that the show, cuz I remember that movie. I think it's the second movie. Doesn't it open or something, or one of the opening scenes is like you see Mulder in bed and then Scully's like laying next to him. I remember being in the theater going, "No." I audibly groaned when I saw it. I was like, "Come on. No, don't do this." But they did it. It was inevitable.
I mean, I'd watch that for $1.
Chris Carter would not let you.
No, he would pull it
He'd cut
at
the
the last
scene.
minute. And then to wrap it all up, he calls Skinner and says, Mulder says, we got to know what the cigarette smoking man knows. And Skinner says, there's got to be another way. And then he hangs up. And then, sure enough, the cigarette smoking man is sitting across the desk from Skinner listening in. He says, yes, there is, if you're
Yeah.
willing to pay the price.
Yeah.
And it's implied that Skinner paid said price in order to spare Scully.
Yeah. And what's cool about that whole sequence at the very end is when Mulder has that initial conversation with Skinner in the office, where Mulder's like, This is Scully's life on the line, dude. What are you talking about?" And Skinner says something to him, is like, "Look, nothing is worth dealing with this guy who all he does is lie about everything." And he's like, "I'm not going to let you do this." And Mulder kind of just gets pissed off and walks out. But it just goes to show, like, remember when Skinner was first introduced, and everyone was kind of like, "God, this guy's just a prick. Like, no one likes him. Is he actually working with the cigarette smoking man?" Like, at this point, you realize like Skinner is fully on board. He is an ally. He will sacrifice himself to protect Mulder and Scully. And it's like, I think it's at this point, at least in this series for me, I'm like, God, Skinner's just fucking awesome. Like, Skinner's great. I need a boss like that.
Oh, with a potato shaped dick.
Oh. So what'd you think of Memento Mori?
I mean, I liked it. I enjoyed it mostly because Gillian Anderson is a powerhouse as far as acting goes in this show. But that being said, this ties into the overarching lore of the aliens and the government conspiracy. And in true season 4 fashion, this is easily one of the, if not the weakest episode in that running series.
Okay. Why?
It didn't really go anywhere. We didn't. I mean, we got closure in that she's going to fight the cancer, but we didn't find out anything. We didn't find out why they were trying to exterminate the Kurtz, or even, in fact, where they were from, who the alien bounty hunter was, or who had put them onto it. All it really did was Scully has cancer. Scully's going to fight the cancer. Cigarette smoking man now has Skinner wrapped around his fingers again, and that's all it did.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that the episode, hinges on Gillian Anderson's acting in it, and she does great, just like she always does great. I think if you would this would be one of those episodes, if a lesser actress had been sort of cast in this role, then it could have just fallen completely flat on its face. But I like the stuff that she's going through. I even like the kind of Mission Impossible style stuff that the lone gunman and Mulder are doing in this like abandoned building. it's it is a little confusing to me. Like I still was not clear that that was an actual alien bounty hunter. That's why I was like, well, where did that weapon go? Because I couldn't remember what happened to that weapon. Like I know Mulder had it at one point and X was trying to get it, but who's actually in possession of that weapon? But if you're like, well, everybody, all the bounty hunters have it, I guess I'm always used to that one guy, but I guess they can shapeshift and stuff, so who knows? But yeah, I think that I would say this is kind of like not a great episode, but I wasn't sad or mad or anything after I finished watching it. It was one of those things like, it's all right. This is a solid 7 out of 10 episode for me.
Sure.
Definitely worth watching. I think it's important for the cancer arc, and we're going to follow this for quite a while. Like, this cancer thing does not suddenly get wrapped up in a couple episodes. I think this even goes into season 5. So this is a long journey we're about to take. And it's nice to see that, Scully's like, I'm going to fight this, and that she's not going to sort of give up and everything. And, but yeah, so there you go. Memento Mori. Some fun facts about this episode. The show's producers decided to give Gillian Anderson's character Dana Scully cancer early in the 4th season. Series creator Chris Carter initially discussed giving Scully's mother cancer, but decided to have Scully suffer from it instead. Carter felt the move would give the show an interesting platform on which to discuss things such as faith, science, healthcare, and a certain element of the paranormal. Some of the writing staff felt the decision was a poor one to make, citing as a, quote, cheap TV thing, unquote. However, Frank Spotnitz felt that given the appearances of cancer-stricken abductees in previous episodes, it was an obligatory move to have Scully follow suit. The episode was written by Vince Gilligan, John Chabon, and Frank Spotnitz 3 days after another script idea fell through. Spotnitz noted that Darren Morgan had left the show but was going to contribute an episode, and we realized at the 11th hour that it wasn't going to happen. Imagine that. Darren Morgan was about to do another episode. I would love to know the reason as to why that all fell apart. We were stuck with nothing. John, Vince, and I broke that story in maybe 2 days. We split up the acts, wrote it in probably another 2 days, and gave the crew something to prep before Christmas break. That was the worst ever. And then the next thing is Chris Carter ended up rewriting the script over the holiday. So these guys did all this work to write the script, and then Chris Carter came in and rewrote the whole thing after they were done. The episode's opening scene, featuring a camera moving slowly towards Scully in a harsh white light, was achieved by constructing a long, narrow set covered in aluminum foil, which amplified the light being used and downplayed any colors. This shot was drained of color entirely and was combined with a series of blurring and framing effects in post-production to further enhance the intended image to create the impression of waking from a dream. And this episode was submitted to the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences to represent the X-Files in that year's Primetime Emmy Awards. Episode writers Chris Carter, Vince Gilligan, John Chabon, and Frank Spotnitz were nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Writing for a Drama Series. And then art directors Graham Murray and Gary Allen and set decorator Shirley Inget won the Creative Emmy Award for Best Art Direction in a Series, while actress Gillian Anderson also won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series for her work in this episode and the 4th season as a whole. So congratulations, Gillian Anderson, winning Best Actress for season 4 and her work in this episode. So there you go.
Way to carry the show, Gillian.
Yeah. Didn't we look up? I feel like we looked up and like David Duchovny won, I think, in like 1998 or something like that. Like at a certain point, David Duchovny wins an Emmy for this show. But certainly in the early seasons, it is Gillian carrying the acting duties here. But any final thoughts on Memento Mori?
Yeah. Just one of the few in season 4 thus far that is definitely worth catching.
Yeah. And we're more than halfway through season 4, folks. So if you want to continue the journey with us, hit that like and subscribe. We are back every Friday here on Outpost Unknown. Starts at 12 a.m. You can pull up our episode on YouTube and give it a listen. Leave a comment down below. But until next Friday, we will see you later.
Bye.